Have you ever gone up to a mirror, blew on it, and it got moist, and then little by little it starts to dissolve and disappear? What they're saying here is that we are breathing in our existence. Think of you as a dot, a little dot in history, and that's what we are, a minuscule dot. And we see how people who were here are no longer here. He's saying life is short. He's saying, why borrow trouble from tomorrow? Why worry? You may have 5 or 50 million beats left till you go into eternity. But we don't know when. We don't know how it's going to happen. We don't know where it's going to happen. What would happen if you had to face your entire future all at once? What would it be like? Personally, I think it'd be scary. I don't think I could contain or deal with all those things. I want to warn you to not give up hope. We have a vision for whatever our life is to be. But you know what? We have to act up. We have to do something about it. We have to assume there is a tomorrow. But oftentimes when we assume that there's going to be a tomorrow, we don't do anything when that tomorrow comes. It means we're just as unprepared as we were yesterday in that new day that God has given us. Proverbs says this. Chapter 27, verse 1. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring forth. What's the wise way to prepare for the future? The wise way to deal with the future is to do it now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the blog. My name is Tommy Grimes and I blog about people, places, and things that I love, from the city of brotherly love to the city of angels. I've been making videos about my search for my dad's biological family after my sister Carrie was diagnosed with BRCA1 breast cancer, which led to the discovery that her specific mutation was only found in Ashkenazi Jews. I took several DNA tests so I could search on behalf of my father because 10 years ago, he was diagnosed with early onset dementia. I'm still working on future episodes, and if you get a chance, you can watch a video that I made that kind of explains the whole backstory. I'll put a link to that in a card at the top right now, and I'll put a link to it in the end screen following this video. Today I just wanted to check in with everyone during the pandemic, and I also wanted to share some sad news. At 8:48 a.m. Eastern Time on April 21st, my dad, Reverend James Grimes, passed away from COVID-19 complications at the Gracedale Nursing Home in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. He was the father of 3, myself, my sisters Carrie and Stacy. He was the husband to my mother Susan, and he was the pastor of Carpenter's Community Church, which was his life's passion. And I have peace knowing that he isn't suffering anymore, and that the illness that took him happened relatively quickly. We're one of thousands, and by the end of this, maybe hundreds of thousands of people across the world that are dealing with tragedy in this moment. And my heart goes out to all of you who are also grieving. It's a really terrible and complicated situation, which, due to circumstances beyond our control, we can't be with family, and we can't be with loved ones, and we can't be with our friends. My first instinct was to jump in a car and drive across the country, but I can't see my dad's body. My sister Carrie, she is a nurse and she works directly with COVID-19 patients. And my mom, she's older. I shouldn't be around her right now. It seems so very cruel and counterintuitive in this moment, but we are grieving together alone, which for some reason feels less isolating, for me at least, to know that we're all still in this together. And we're experiencing this, and we're showing compassion, even if we can't be physically next to each other. And I've had so many people, check in and send their love to my family and me, and we're so grateful for that. We created a Facebook group for people to be able to share their memories of my father, and I'm gonna put a link to that in the description. For this video, I wanted to just check in with my family and share a little bit about how we're feeling and what we've experienced. So first I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna call my mom. Okay.
Hi.
So, hi Mom.
Hi, Tom.
Okay, so hello sister, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
So I have a couple questions. First of which is, how have you been coping after losing Dad? Can you just walk me through how you found out that Dad had coronavirus and kind of like the week that followed after that?
I'll start with March 10th was the last time I saw him at Graysdale. Because of the virus, Graysdale closed for visitors. He was doing fine. He was walking like usual, his happy, smiling self. Then we heard that there were cases of the coronavirus at Graysdale. So I knew he could get it, but I wasn't expecting it to happen so quickly.
I didn't realize how bad it was going to get in the nursing homes, and I didn't realize that where he was at even had it then.
Like the last we heard, it hit Graysdale, but Mom assured us that it wasn't in his building.
Yeah, she said it was like something with a building, and
we hear, she says that they have like 30 cases.
So on Tuesday the 14th, I got a call that they were pretty sure that he had, from his doctor, who happened to be on the floor, that he had the symptoms. I found out later that just half an hour before, he was still walking around. So it hit him like really fast. Within, I think 2 days, his fever cleared though.
Then he seemed a little bit better, it sounds like, for like one day, and then after that, just it seemed most people with COVID, they get really exhausted. He was exhausted. He didn't want to get out of bed, and then his oxygen continued to decrease, so it was probably just progressing to more of the pneumonia stage. And the people with COVID, their lungs just fill up with fluid, and they can't breathe, and they're very tired, and they have a very dry cough.
yeah.
So it sounds like that just progressed, and he went very quickly.
So, she was about to give him the morphine for the first time. Now the morphine, they said, would help his breathing a little and would help with any pain. So, I went to bed thinking I could get a call during the night or at any time. But I didn't get a call until it was 7:30, about 7:35 maybe, Tuesday morning. He was, like fading rapidly. The indication I got from her was that he probably wasn't going to last very long. And a little over an hour later, I got the phone call that he had passed, and that was at 8:48. I wasn't surprised. It was kind of a relief at that point, because he didn't suffer long, and for many reasons and for many years, I prayed that it wouldn't be long and painful, and that he would go rather quickly.
Like, what did you think?
Maybe I don't want to talk about this.
Okay. What's been the response that you've received online and from like the community since Dad passed away?
Well, obviously people are sad. Someone said to me, like, wow, everything always happens to your family. It's like your dad would die of COVID when you're taking care of COVID patients.
Pretty overwhelming. The people who said how he affected their lives, changed their lives, had a big impact in their spiritual growth as a Christian. And some funny stories. Everybody remembers him as being friendly and pleasant and easy to get along with, and they just have such overwhelming positive things to say.
Yeah, I think for us, you and me, I think, especially, it is slightly more complicated because our belief systems have evolved. How do you think Dad will be remembered?
By who?
I guess by the people that knew him.
I mean, most people remember him on some Christianity-based thing.
He didn't put on like a different persona when he was in the pulpit. He didn't put on pretenses. He didn't act like a preacher. He was just very on their level kind of a person. And I heard that all the time from people in the church and people who met him even outside of the church. And I think that's a big part of how people will remember him.
I don't know. I mean, he's my dad, so I know how I remember him, but I know a lot of my friends have told me that were always really comfortable with him and knew that he cared for them and felt comfortable asking him questions. And Dad, especially with other people, he could hear them tell them the horrible things that they think they were doing or something like that, and he could still love them and tell them that they could still turn around. He was very hopeful, and he was very optimistic, I think, about people.
Started to have more like regrets and stuff now, whereas I feel like if he had died earlier, maybe I wouldn't have felt that way. I don't know.
Yeah. What are like some lessons that you think that you learned from Dad?
I mean, I feel like more so than you and Carrie, unfortunately, is I'm the most similar to Dad. I have his entrepreneurial spirit, his passion, his volatileness and temper. I think my ADD is more like his ADD. The fact that I am an introvert, that I hate public speaking, but I'm really good at it. I'm basically Dad.
And I think that overall Dad really cared about people more than anything. Like, he wanted people to be happy. He wanted us to be happy. He genuinely just cared for people, and he hurt when they hurt.
So of the three of us, you were probably the closest with Dad, right?
I would say Dad and I probably got along the best.
What are some of your favorite memories of Dad, if you have any?
I mean, I think one of the things that I appreciated about Dad was that Dad always, he never told me that I wouldn't be able to do something. When I said I wanted to, join the military, I think a lot of dads would have told their daughter, or tried to talk them out of it, and he never even tried that. Or when I was a little kid, he'd say, if you want to be a surgeon, be a surgeon. You want to be a pilot? I remember watching Top Gun, and he was like, yeah, you should be a fighter pilot. Like, things like that I feel like a lot of dads, and especially conservative Baptist pastors, he never told me to, grow up and try to be a good mom. That wasn't his ambition for me. He was always telling me that I was smart and that I could do anything I put my mind to it. So I don't think it's nearly as traumatic. I feel like I cried a whole lot more when he got his dementia diagnosis, and it was a lot tougher for me because I was younger too. And, I think I was 28, 27 when he got diagnosed. And I feel like, that was a time when you feel like you're still gonna have your parents around to help you when you first have children and things like that and get married. And I realized quickly like we weren't gonna have Dad, and Dad was always a very involved, helpful parent in that way. Like I think he would have been down here trying to help us every chance he could get, and really wanted grandkids and things like that. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm more into that, and I've watched my kids not get to know him.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things have already happened.
If there's been anything positive to come out of this experience, what do you think that would be?
I think it would be, for me, just, again, affirming how God's hand is in everything. Who would have thought, nobody expected this virus, epidemic, pandemic to come, and nobody would have guessed that would be, the way that he would die. But yet, I see it as God's timing and the way that it was planned, and I see so many answers to my prayers all the way along the way for his care. I don't believe that he suffered pain. I think that, the Lord took him very comfortably, and he went right from earth to heaven to be in God's presence, where I believe he's celebrating right now. So I'm very much at peace with, and kind of, feel that God blessed and God answered my prayers, and that he really did go peacefully and he didn't suffer.
To share a little bit about how I'm doing, to be 100% truthful, it's been complicated for me. I keep coming back to how grateful I am to have a support system. I have my girlfriend Sandy, I have my family and my friends, I have my Air Force Reserve combat camera family, the 4th Combat Camera Squadron. You guys have all been there for me, and from the depths of my heart, I thank you. My father had dementia, which is kind of like a long, slow goodbye. And I've had a prolonged grieving, I think, as he slowly drifted away. And I know he isn't suffering anymore. And for me, that brings a certain amount of closure. I tend to push things downward, and I put off working through some things. And now I've been trying to find opportunities to remember the best memories of my father, and kind of cherish the lessons that he taught me and the passions that he shared with me for things like technology and films. He took me to see Jurassic Park when I was 6 years old, which sounds crazy, but that's the thing that made me obsessed with filmmaking and Steven Spielberg. And he got me into Star Wars, even though he was more of a Trekkie. When the original trilogy was re-released, we went and saw all of those, and although we didn't have much money, he always had a computer in the house for us to tinker with. And when I got older, technology was a rivalry between us. He got a new MacBook Pro, I got a better one. I got the iPhone when it first came out with 4 gigabytes of memory. He got the one with 8, and I was so mad. And I don't know why these are the things that I'm thinking about. They are. My father was the pastor of a church, and that made him an important figure in a lot of people's lives. He was there presiding over weddings, over child dedications, over baptisms and funerals. He was present in moments of pain and in moments of joy. He gave of his heart and his time to provide counsel to many people and help them through every season of life. And I know there are so many people out there who have felt the impact that he's had on your lives. And I know that you're grieving with us because you feel this loss too. Well, everybody knew him as Pastor Jim. I knew him as my dad. And like many father-son relationships, it can be complicated. And for me, I have to separate the two people, my dad and the pastor. I love my father. I know he would have charted a very different path for my life if he could have. But my belief system is very different than the one I was raised in, and that's okay. That's okay. I respect and I love my father for following his convictions and dreaming big, for taking his family of 5 and relocating to Nazareth, Pennsylvania to start a church from scratch. You know, he wanted to leave a lasting positive impact on the world. And I think a lot of people's lives are better for that. And I can only hope to have a 10th of that impact on the world. For me, I know I don't have all the answers. And I've fallen in love with that beauty and that I see in the ambiguity and the uncertainty and the fragility of life. I think that my search for his biological family derives from that place of fascination with how complicated the world is and how all of us try to create meaning out of the chaos. My father never knew that he had Jewish ancestry, even though he was obsessed with Israel and he studied there for a year in college. I don't know what comes after we pass, but I do like to think that my dad has that knowledge now, that he knows things that I've recently learned about his past. He knows about his Jewish ancestry now, and he knows, and I know this is spoilers, but he knows that his mother was Barbara Lusk Mayers, and he knows about his brothers and sisters. He knows who they are. He knows that he got to meet his sister Sue in life, and maybe now he's getting a chance to meet his brother Kenny on the other side, and maybe he knows things that I haven't worked out yet. Maybe he knows who his father was, because I haven't figured that out yet. And wherever you are, Dad, I hope I can make you proud, and I'm gonna keep searching. And I'll cherish the most important lessons that you taught me. To keep working on ourselves, to be better, to not be too proud to admit when I'm wrong, to treat others the way I want to be treated, and to love everyone. A virus starts in one corner of the world, and a few months later, it found its way to you, Pennsylvania, and ended your suffering. And maybe you can see a plan in that. Maybe it's God's hand, maybe it's bad luck, maybe it just is. For me, I know the challenge is to take this tragedy and try to find something good from it. My dad is one of over, I think right now, 180,000 people that have lost their lives. And each one of them had their own story, and they have their own family that's mourning them. And it's really tough to contextualize that. But while you're staying inside and you're keeping your social distance, you're washing your hands, you might be helping to spare another family from feeling loss and pain. And I know it's a tough moment, but I also know we're gonna make it through this. And you can reach out for connection. You're not alone. One day this will end, and we'll come out, we'll be able to be together, and we can mourn together, and we can celebrate their lives. Thank you to everyone that loved my father. Thank you to the people that took care of him. Thank you to everyone that's working on the front lines in the fight against this virus. Thank you to all the workers who are out there performing the essential tasks so that the rest of us can stay home. I'm sending all of you my love. Thank you for watching.